There are matchups that spark curiosity, and then there are those that ignite wildfire debates across continents. This was one of them, a name synonymous with raw power, unrelenting aggression, and the kind of fear that echoed through heavyweight boxing. Mike Tyson. Now, picture him across from a fighter cut from an entirely different cloth. Islam, a master technician from the world of mixed martial arts, precise, patient, and as composed as a monk before battle. The collision of styles alone had fans on edge. But this wasn't just a fantasy. This was the kind of what-if that took on a life of its own. Tyson, forged in chaos and raised by fire, brought with him decades of legacy, explosive knockouts, a controversial past, and an aura that never truly left the ring. He wasn't just fighting opponents. He was fighting ghosts, expectations, and his own legend. And yet, across the divide stood Islam, whose calm demeanor masked a cold, strategic brilliance. While Tyson relied on thunderous bursts, Islam played chess in a storm, calculating angles, predicting movement, and taking control before opponents even realized they were losing. The beauty of this matchup was its unpredictability, power against precision, instinct against discipline. Speculation swirled in every gym, from New York to Dagestan. Could Tyson, the human sledgehammer, land that one devastating punch before being dismantled by a surgeon's patience? Could Islam handle the pressure of a man who turned fear into a weapon, who needed only seconds to rewrite a fight? And deeper still, beneath the surface chatter, was a psychological game neither fighter could avoid. Tyson had always thrived in the chaos, often creating it himself. Islam lived in silence, a strategist who made no noise but always left a mark. They were reflections of different fighting philosophies, and neither had ever faced anyone quite like the other. The rules didn't matter to fans. Whether it was boxing gloves or MMA gloves, a ring or a cage, people just wanted to see these two worlds collide. And what made this encounter even more electric was the fact that both men knew what was at stake. For Tyson, it wasn't just about reliving the past. It was about proving that primal power still had a place in a world that had evolved. For Islam, it was about showing that skill, timing, and control could conquer even the wildest storm. The respect was there, but so was the tension. No one blinked. No one exhaled. Even the silence between interviews felt like the calm before something no one was ready for. But there was something else, something no one saw coming. In the final days leading up to the event, whispers began to spread. Rumors of a last-minute twist, a detail behind closed doors that could change everything. It wasn't about injury or weight. It wasn't even about contracts. It was something deeper, something both camps were keeping quiet. And just as fans thought they had the full picture, one unexpected move flipped the narrative on its head. Nobody knew who leaked it first, but once the footage hit the underground forums, it was impossible to ignore. A silent, unedited clip. No commentary, no music, just Islam in a private gym, training with a man whose face was half shrouded in shadow. At first glance, it looked like just another sparring partner, but someone paused the frame, enhanced it, and the internet lost its mind. The man in the video was no rookie. He was a former heavyweight boxer, with a reputation almost as volatile as Tyson's, and more importantly, someone who had sparred with Mike in the past. The twist wasn't just that Islam was training with him. It was that he was mimicking Tyson's rhythm, step for step. This revelation sent shockwaves through the combat community. Fans began dissecting the clip like detectives solving a crime. Every pause, every feint, every foot placement was intentional. Islam wasn't just preparing for a fight. He was studying Mike's soul. And that wasn't all. Word got out that Islam had requested a change to the fight format. Something subtle but enough to throw off anyone relying on instinct alone. The request? A modified round length, shorter bursts, less time per round. It seemed like a minor tweak on paper, but those who understood the game saw it for what it was, a calculated attempt to force Tyson into a pace he wasn't used to, where each second mattered more and recovery windows were razor thin. Tyson's camp didn't take it lightly. His team released a clip of their own. No words, just Mike shadowboxing in silence, looking faster than anyone expected. His eyes locked onto the camera like he was staring down his opponent already. The message was clear. If Islam thought shortening the rounds would save him, he was betting on the wrong clock. But behind the scenes, tension rippled through Tyson's circle. His longtime trainer had gone radio silent, and a cryptic social media post added fuel to the fire. It simply read, Sometimes, loyalty walks out before the bell rings. Speculation turned to chaos. Had Tyson's corner fractured just days before the fight? Was there more behind the shift in Islam's training approach? Some believed the twist wasn't physical at all. A journalist hinted at a deeper layer, an old grudge, possibly involving a deal that never saw the light of day. The narrative was evolving into something bigger than styles and tactics. It was now about pride, mind games, and the unknown variable no one could quite put a finger on. While the countdown continued, both fighters remained silent. No interviews, no press, just training clips, cryptic posts, and the kind of psychological warfare that made fans question who truly had the upper hand. But on the eve of the weigh-in, as the world waited for a routine face-off, something happened that shattered the script. Tyson didn't show up first. Islam didn't either. Instead, a vehicle pulled up, doors opened slowly, and the man who stepped out wasn't supposed to be part of this story at all. The man who stepped out of that vehicle wasn't part of the promotion, not listed on any card, and hadn't been mentioned once during the build-up. But the second his face came into view, the crowd outside the arena erupted like a dam had finally cracked. It was one of Tyson's oldest rivals, someone who knew his style not from watching tape, but from standing toe-to-toe with him when the lights were at their brightest. No one expected to see him here. Not now, not like this. And yet there he was, walking with intent toward Islam's locker room, ignoring security, media, and cameras alike. What happened inside that room was never officially confirmed, but whatever was said changed the energy completely, because when Islam emerged just minutes later, his stare had shifted. Less calm, more fire. Fight night arrived under a sky painted in tension. The arena was a split battleground, half the crowd roaring for Tyson's legacy, the other half backing Islam's calculated rise. Everything that had happened in the lead-up, from the secret training footage to the mysterious walk-in at weigh-ins, came crashing together as the lights dimmed and the bell rang. The opening round wasn't what anyone expected. Tyson didn't explode forward. He waited, watching, testing. And Islam didn't play defense. He advanced, sharp, measured, jabbing like he was trying to open lock, not break it. Seconds felt stretched. Every move echoed louder than it should have. By round 3, the tempo was chaotic in the most controlled way. Tyson landed a shot that buckled Islam's legs, but instead of capitalizing with his usual fury, he hesitated, just for a beat, enough for Islam to clinch, reset, and regain control. It was in that moment fans realized this was no longer just a physical battle. It was psychological warfare at its purest. Tyson wasn't just fighting Islam. He was fighting the whispers, the betrayals, the mind games planted like landmines in the weeks before. Islam wasn't just managing distance. He was walking a tightrope between genius and disaster. The final round felt like both an ending and a rebirth. Both men bloodied, exhausted, and yet locked in a dance that neither wanted to end first. Tyson threw a left that grazed, not landed. Islam countered with a trip attempt that nearly worked. The crowd screamed. Commentators couldn't keep up. And then, a silence that swallowed everything. Islam slipped, just for a second. Tyson saw it, and instead of unleashing the punch that millions were waiting for, he stepped back. Just one step. The ref didn't intervene. The bell rang, and the fight was over. Not with a knockout, not with a roar, but with two men standing and breathing in what they both survived. The decision went to the judges, and while the split went in Islam's favor, the arena didn't explode in celebration or boos. It was something stranger. Respect, confusion, admiration. Because what happened in that ring wasn't just about winning. It was about evolution. The beast who once terrified the world chose restraint. The strategist who controlled chaos nearly fell to it. But just when everyone thought they understood the arc of this bizarre collision, the final twist landed. Not in the cage, not on the mic, but in the post-fight presser. Tyson took the stage, smiled, and leaned in. That man in Islam's corner. He used to be mine. But he didn't betray me. I sent him. The room went dead silent. He leaned back. Sometimes, to know yourself, you have to watch someone else prepare for you. A pause. And I needed to know if I still feared myself. Then he stood, nodded once, and walked off, not as the man they remembered, but as the man no one had seen coming.